All right, well, hey there, folks. I'm Meteorologist Matt Barrentine. I hope you're having yourself a good afternoon. Of course, it's quite a nice afternoon for us here across the area. Beautiful conditions out there that we are, I don't want to say dealing with, but enjoying. Maybe that's a better way to put it. Yeah, beautiful conditions across the area here as we go through the evening and on into the late afternoon and on into the evening. And then this weekend looks just fantastic as well. Let me get the maps up here. Start talking about that forecast. This is your PEX Pelk Tire Tailgate forecast, and great. I mean, no other way to put it. It's going to be really beautiful out there this evening. If you have a chance, get out and enjoy it. It's going to be a really nice night. I know some schools have their homecomings tonight. Should be great weather for all that. We got some great conditions out there. Temperatures will be dropping off into the 60s after sunset. I would suggest jeans, t-shirt, and then a light jacket over the top of all that. You should be good to go. No problems at all. Let's check out your big Friday kickoff. This is going to be where we're at tonight. We'll be at the Fairhope Daphne game. Yeah, big battle here on the Eastern Shore. Fairhope Pirates and Daphne Trojans. Temperatures here will be in the low 60s. It'll be clear skies. It'll be gorgeous. Once again, light jacket. You will be good to go here for tonight in Daphne on the Eastern Shore. How about coming back across the bay here? We got the Williamson Lions and the Viger Wolves. Big game here. Temperatures mid-60s at kickoff, more like the low 60s there as we head towards game time. Let's check out your high school football forecast. And for Mary G. Montgomery and the Baker Hornets, another big game here on this side of the bay. And we're looking at, once again, temperatures in the 60s, light jacket, be great. Just clear weather, beautiful weather out there tonight for the games. Let's check out one more. We're going down to Gulf Shores here. Theodore's headed down that way. Temperatures will be in the upper 60s at the start of the game, but more like the mid-60s for most of the game. Looking good there for the Bobcats and the Dolphins. All right, that's all the high school games I've got for you right now, but I got some college games for you. Of course, you got Auburn. We'll start with them since they're the early game tomorrow at 11 a.m. up there in Columbia, Missouri. So Tiger v. Tiger. And it'll start off a little chilly because it's, morning time, but then after that it works. Temperatures warm up. About 70 by halftime, so lots of sunshine, gorgeous conditions, brilliant weather for some football up there in Columbia, Missouri. Now let's head over to Tennessee. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but this is going to be a good game. Alabama, Tennessee. Who would have thunk, right? It's been a long time since this matchup has been a good matchup, but it's going to be a good one this year. Temperatures are in the 70s at the beginning of the game, and as towards the end of the game, as the sun's getting low in the sky, it'll be dropping back off into the 60s. All in all, once again, though, really brilliant weather for that game as well. Looking absolutely fantastic. So that's that for you. I wanted to pop up the tropical weather outlook while I've got you, just so you know what we're looking at out there. The good news is, even though we got two areas that we've been watching, and looks like they just increased the risk of that one over there in the Caribbean up to about 60%. Regardless, I'm not too concerned with the yellow area. That one, they've been keep lowering the risk, and it doesn't look like it's going to ever be able to form. But this one here does look like it will, maybe like right before landfall here in Belize or the southern part of the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. Looks like it'll crank up into a tropical system. Now, whether it becomes a full-blown tropical storm or not, I don't know. It would become Nadine if that's the case. But one way or the other, it's going to be very, very brief. I mean, it's basically going to form about 50 miles offshore, then make landfall tomorrow, probably midday or afternoon. So, and then it goes into Mexico, does not come up here to bother us. The good news for us is that there is a ton of wind shear. So what happens is cold front comes sweeping on down. The cold front is actually driven by the jet stream in the upper levels of the atmosphere. The polar jet is this ribbon of air that moves along at 70, 80, 90, 100 and plus knots up there in the way high in the atmosphere. And basically, no tropical storm could withstand that. So if a tropical storm tries to come up our way, it will just get ripped to shreds, just to pieces, get blown apart. So there's no worries while we have that kind of wind shear of us getting any kind of tropical system. And that's why towards the end of October, second half of October, going into, technically the hurricane season lasts until the end of November. But it's very rare to get a hurricane or even a tropical storm into our area late October and going into November, and this is the reason why. It can happen, and it's happened in the past a couple of times. Basically what has to happen is you have to have you have to push that polar jet stream well to the north. It has to get out of the way for a while, and a tropical system has to find a window to develop and then to work its way up towards us before that wind shear gets back down to the Gulf Coast. So they can happen. I mean, these brief windows do happen every once in a while, but it's rare. And my concern levels right at this point for the season are extremely low. Even if something does try to form, it'd be very hard for it to stay very strong, and get up all the way to us. So really, once we get into this part of the season, we're keeping more of an eye down the Caribbean. That's where we can still have dangerous, powerful, destructive storms, is down the Caribbean where this doesn't reach, where this kind of wind shear doesn't happen. Because you can look at it right now and you can see, well, there's a ton of wind shear up over the eastern half of the U.S. There's not very much at all in the Caribbean. So they still have the possibility of seeing strong storms down there. That's why the Atlantic hurricane season goes through the end of November, because, this is all still part of the Atlantic basin, obviously. And they can still get hurricanes and tropical storms at this time of year. But it's very hard for them to actually reach up towards us now at this point, because they'll get blown to shreds by that kind of wind shear. So we'll see. Like I said, there's still possibilities, but they're just much, much slimmer. All right, you probably want to go ahead and get a good look at the forecast here for the next several days. Let me go and get you the weekend forecast here. I showed you the forecast up in Columbia, Missouri, and Knoxville for the games. Here's the actual weather down here on our Gulf Coast for the weekend. 78 Saturday. It'll start in the low 50s in the morning on Saturday. 50 low 50s again on Sunday morning, then 80 in the afternoon. I mean, this weekend is going to be fantastic. And there's stuff going on. They got Greek Fest and some other things happening out there, and a lot of kids have soccer games and baseball games. I know all kinds of stuff going on this weekend, and it looks just fantastic out there. Hard to argue with that. Now, over time here, as we go into next week, we will see a gradual warming trend. And our temperatures do begin to bounce back. Should be in the mid-80s by the middle of next week. So that's getting a little toasty, but the good news is we're not going back, all the way up to 90. I think we're done with the 90s at this point, and looks good next week for a warm up. That'll still feel pretty warm. Mid-80s after this nice cool down is going to feel a little toasty, but once again, too, our humidity levels at this time of year are just not quite the same. You see the morning lows, even as we hit those mid-80s, are going to still be in the upper 50s to around 60. So that means it's not that humid. So looking pretty good, all in all, as we look over the next 7 days. Hey, join us on Fox 10 News 3, 4, and 5 tonight. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Fox 10 Gulf Stream.